Hey everyone, welcome back to Poplar Preparedness. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a very uncomfortable, very anger-inducing topic. Yes, I want to be asking the question, is gardening, is homesteading, raising all your own food on your property really the best way of prepping or being prepared for SHTF or a disaster? And I'm going to take a little bit of an unorthodox answer to that. The answer, in short, is going to be, I think it's a little more dependent upon your lifestyle. Because I think we get a lot of these homesteading channels, we get a lot of people who have made it their life to raise their own food. And I think they give the impression sometimes that like everyone can do this or everyone should do this. I believe that everyone can do it, right? But I don't know if everyone should do it necessarily. I think that steps in that direction are definitely going to be helpful and useful. But I know some of you are already throwing stuff, you're angrily hammering stuff out in the comments. Here's my simple point, is that you have two time periods you need to worry about. There's the pre-SHTF time period, like the here and now, and then there's the after SHTF time frame. And the simple fact is that if you're spending a ridiculous amount of your time pre-SHTF growing your own food, that may be maybe a great hobby. It may be a passion of your life, and if so, then that's awesome, and you're going to be really prepared through SHTF. The end of the world, grid down, any big catastrophic situation, you're already producing all your own food, great. But very few people can produce all of their own food without a tremendous amount of effort. It's hard to grow all of your own food. Most homesteaders out there, they'll freely admit that they still buy a lot of inputs. They buy chicken feed, they buy feed for their and vitamins for their livestock. There's a lot of inputs that come in from the outside, even there. And with all that, it's really hard to grow all of your own food, especially without mechanized equipment like if you don't have gas or diesel, that's going to make it really hard to grow all of your own food. So I think that we should at least put that in perspective there, that pre-SHTF, it's a big undertaking. And my second point is post-SHTF, post the collapse of things, it's going to be really, really hard. You're going to be like growing all of your own food, but it's going to be really hard. And I think that sometimes that's underestimated by a lot of people, how much land it will take to grow enough food for your family, how much work it will take to grow all of your own food for your whole family if you don't have diesel or fuel. That's a big one. If you don't have a tractor, if you have to hew everything out by hand, that's going to take a lot more work than what even regular homesteaders are dealing with right now. Stockpiling food, and that's where I'm really going with this. Stockpiling food, rice and beans in 5-gallon buckets or in tubs or however you store it, rice and beans stockpiled can buy you years worth of focus that you can focus on something else. And that's huge. That's just ridiculously huge. When it starts taking you 9 months out of the year of pretty much, dawn to dusk kind of work in order to grow all of your own food for your family, I think that's when, having laid aside 5-gallon buckets of rice and beans will be something you certainly wish you had done. Because sure, you can grow your own food, but it would have been easier if you just bought it while it was super cheap, because that's where we really are. Right now, rice and beans are dirt cheap. I mean, when I start thinking about how much work it will take to raise 1 year's worth of food, it's a ridiculous amount of work. How much will it cost to buy 1 year's worth of food? you can get rice and beans for about $500 to $600. You can have your entire 1 year food covered. Now, you're going to need some more nutrients in there, but you can forage some greens, and you can supplement with some other things. But when you start thinking about how much work does it take to get $500 to $600, and then you compare that to how much work it will be to raise all of your own food. It's, apples to apples, it's a big difference. It's a big difference. I found that I have things that I need to get done pre-SHTF, before the collapse. I value my time and my energy. A lot of you know about my Bible channel over there, and I'm working on doing some more Bible teaching. This coming year, I'm hoping to do some more traveling to do Bible teaching and missions work, both doing disaster relief, but then also doing some overseas training of pastors in other countries, as well as with my church work here in the United States. And then I'm a lot of people don't realize how much ridiculous amount of time goes into YouTube channels. But this is now my full-time gig, and I give you everything I can. And even when I was having my parents over here for the holidays, I had to tell them, I really need to spend a lot of time focused in on my YouTube channel and getting that stuff done. And it's my job. I'm working here to provide you guys with information and the best information I can. And all that kind of comes back to the point is just like, I don't have the time and the flexibility to really care for animals. So when my chickens got murdered, I decided not to replace them. And that's because I have some more trips that I really feel like I need to do. And, always getting somewhere to watch your chickens is a lot more of a hassle than just buying eggs. And that's kind of what I determined. Now, am I prepared? I have doubled down on stockpiling food, because I know that I'm going to need even more time to ramp back up and get my garden really going. I'm going to garden again this year, but because I need to continue learning how to do that. But I'm not going to necessarily have a productive garden where I'm really trying to grow a big proportion of my food this year. So there's thoughts like that. So I don't know what you need to get done before SHTF happens. I don't know when that's going to happen. Is it next week? Is it next year? But the idea that perhaps you might be better focused on living your life and having your preparedness, your prepping, your SHTF preparation to be as unobtrusive as possible in your current life, as possible, yet while still getting you prepared. And so I think that's kind of the thought process along there is if SHTF happens, this channel is going to kind of go away. A lot of our jobs are going to go away. We're going to have a lot more time. So doing the things that we can do only now, like the purchasing of things, amassing information perhaps, and getting all those resources collected so that in an SHTF situation, we'll be able to focus more on getting those preps and getting those things operational and working them in. Now, doing it now will definitely give you the best running start into a collapse of society or collapse in general. But I think that for a lot of people, the price is a little too high to really be doing all of the things, to move out to Idaho or move out to Arkansas or something like that, when you have friends and family where you are. A lot of people are kind of trapped in their houses, or trapped with a job, or trapped in some other way where moving across the country is a really big problem. And I don't know. I can't make decisions for you. I think that it's just important for us to acknowledge that that everything's not so cut and dry. Everyone's not just supposed to move out to a farm in Idaho and farm, because a lot of people have a purpose that is greater than survival for them. Whether that's finding your personal happiness, whether that's serving others, whether that's a mission or a cause that you have. And in that case, then moving out to the boonies and living off the ground and surviving isn't necessarily what purpose you have in life. Because in the end, dying is not really the worst thing that can happen to you. It really isn't. What the worst thing that can happen to you is that you never truly live. And a lot of these people doing homesteading and farming and micro farming and all that kind of stuff like that, and they love what they do, they're living. There's some city folks watching this that, you know, maybe the idea of farming is kind of appealing, but really when it comes down to it, it's not what you want to do at all. And as long as the grid stays up, however long that may be, a month, 2 months, a year, 2 years, you want to live where you are and focus in on the things that you want and need to focus in on, you know, by all means. But you can compensate for that by giving yourself more of a ramp of food supply, fuel, winter heat, basically, making sure that you can sustain yourself until you can get those things figured out. Because when it comes down to it, after SHTF, everyone's going to have to make adjustments. And Bear Independent, he talks about how really all you're doing with stored food is you're extending normalcy. He was just talking about this in a recent video. Extending normalcy for your loved ones. And that's what stored food is. And so the question is do you extend normalcy so that you can make that transition over to having to grow all of your own food, if that's what's going to be necessary, or finding a place to land or someone to partner up with. If you can partner up with a farmer or someone who has land like that, then that might be the best way to go in the end. But maybe partnering with them now to help financially support them while they are kind of getting the things going by buying a bunch of their produce, making a deal with them that you'll buy a whole bunch of their produce so you get to eat fresh, and you're helping a farm kind of get started up and ready to go. And yet, when the time comes, you can go out and then you can go be the labor to kind of work that farm under their guidance, under the direction of people who know what they're doing. So, all that to say, homesteading, I don't think it's realistic for everybody. I think there's more important things to life than survival. And I think that homesteading is going to be tough enough as it is to survive. I think it's going to be a lot harder than what a lot of people think. When the grid comes down, there's a lot of things on a farm that happen with mechanized equipment. What happens when that mechanized equipment isn't working? That's going to be a whole new world for everybody involved, for us to all kind of figure out together what's going to happen, what needs to happen. Having multi-years of food set back is really going to make a lot of difference. And making sure that you can hold on to that food, make sure you don't have it taken away from you, is another important thing to think about. All right, folks, pop your comments, your thoughts down below. A bunch of you already have, and I will read through them. But you know, just give all that some thoughts. All right, folks, if you found this video useful, helpful, or thought-provoking, you might want to check out another video from me right over here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you later. Steve Poplar out.